In 2006, President Bush proudly told a CNBC interviewer who asked about his computer usage, quote, "One of the things I've used on the Google is to pull up maps." Little did he know that just 2 years later, the presumptive Republican nominee to succeed him would make Bush look like the super hacker hero kid from Tron. In our number one story on the countdown, big news from Senator John McCain's presidential campaign. The senator is now officially moving into the late 20th century, saying that he's learning to get online. In a wide-ranging interview with the New York Times last Friday, the subject of political blogs was broached. More on that in a moment. But Senator McCain was asked if he went online himself. Quote, "They go on for me," the senator answered. "I am learning to get online myself, and I will have that down fairly soon. Getting on myself. I don't expect to be a great communicator. I don't expect to set up my own blog, but I am becoming computer literate to the point where I can get the information that I need." Nice to have that warning from Senator McCain that he won't be a great communicator. Lots to look forward to in an uncommunicative McCain presidency. And the McCain camp might want to consider stopping certain supporters from trying to communicate on McCain's behalf. The guy we're thinking of specifically is South Carolina Governor Mark Sanford. The issue here is McCain's economic plan versus President Bush's economic policies.
Are there any significant economic differences between what the Bush administration has put forward over these many years as opposed to now what John McCain supports?
Yeah, I mean, for instance, take for instance the issue of I'm drawing a blank, and I hate it when I do that, particularly on television. But take for instance. The contrast on NAFTA.
Guess who's not going to be vice president? That made us wonder if the South Carolina governor and a different kind of contender from that same state might have a wee bit in common.
Are there any significant economic differences between what the Bush administration has put forward over these many years as opposed to now what John McCain supports?
Yeah, I mean, for instance, take,
I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so. Some people out there in our nation don't have maps.
Take, for instance, the issue of
education, like such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere, like such as. Our education over here in the U.S. should help the U.S.
I'm drawing a blank, and I hate it when I do that, particularly on television.
Thank you very much, South Carolina.
Let's bring in comedian Michael Ian Black, author of the new book, My Custom Van, and also the host of a new show on Comedy Central, Reality Bites, which premieres on July 17th. Michael, congratulations on the new show. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So Senator McCain is learning to get online. Will this be a seminar, a continuing education class, or will it be like a crash course, and will Senator McCain require a tutor?
Look, Rachel, I think maybe you're making too big a deal out of this. Every president has blind spots in their education, and that there's a learning curve when you attain the presidency. Some are maybe a little short on the economy or foreign affairs. In Senator McCain's case, it's just everything that's been invented in the last 35 years. And the way I think what we'll do is we'll educate him slowly. We'll start with technology he's familiar with, the telegraph, for example, and then we'll slowly work our way up to, say, the CB radio, right? Then maybe the speak and spell. Okay? And then eventually, in maybe the second McCain administration, we'll go to the personal computer, or PC, as the kids call it, President McCain.
Do you think it would be helpful if we, the computer-using public, sent Senator McCain tips about how to get online?
Well, you know what? It's not that easy to get online. You know, it really isn't. First of all, you have to know how to turn the computer on. Okay, that's not easy. It's not like there's a magic button that you push and suddenly the computer turns on. Okay, so there's that. And a lot of people, you know, they're just pressing the keyboard over and over. They're just pressing G, 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 G. Nothing's happening. You have to know where the magic button is. So we have to teach them where the magic button is. Then once you get online, there's all these sounds that happen. There's visuals that pop up. It's incredibly complicated. And then, if you get that far, you have to double-click on the web browser. And I'm sorry, there's not a lot of 72-year-old men out there these days who can double-click anything.
Michael, in this same interview, Senator McCain was asked what websites he looks at regularly. His answer was, quote, Brooke and Mark show me Drudge, obviously. Everybody watches, for better or for worse.
Right.
Drudge. Sometimes I look at Politico, sometimes Real Politics, sometimes. Everybody watches Drudge? Is he getting the internet machine mixed up with the TV machine?
You're not understanding something, Rachel. This is where Senator McCain is actually ahead of the curve, because as we all know, television and computers will eventually merge. So eventually, we will all be watching computer. You see? He's living in the future, Rachel. You're living in the past.
I can imagine the spin happening right now on that subject. All right, and by the way, Senator McCain today said he was concerned about Russia reducing the energy supplies to Czechoslovakia, even though that country has not existed in over 15 years. He's made this similar mistake before. Maybe this is just one of those pesky facts he can look up once he's comfortable with the Google?
Well, look, do we really expect our president to know which countries exist and which countries don't exist? That's a lot for any man, okay? I mean, maybe he could suggest that Russia reduce its energy supplies to Narnia. It would be basically the same thing.
Last question. There's the governor of South Carolina, Mark Sanford, finally cited NAFTA as a difference between Bush and McCain, then later explained that he didn't really mean that. They were the same on that, too. Should we at least be giving Sanford credit for the stammering honesty thing?
Absolutely, but I think we're looking at this the wrong way, because Senator McCain shouldn't be running from the Bush economic plan. If you look at it in a certain light, think about it this way. Right now, there are billions of people all over the globe who can't afford $4.50 gallon of gasoline. Well, we've got millions of Americans who pay for that every single day. We're the richest country in the world, and we should be proud of that.
Comedian Michael Ian Black, host of the new show on Comedy Central, Reality Bites, author of the new book, My Custom Van. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Rachel.